Thank you, Pyra. Take it away, we shall, because we're just as flabbergasted as you guys are. 2 backdoors today already in 40+ minute games. It was looking like 100x had the lead, then it was looking like Maryville had the lead, then 100x came back, then Maryville came back, then they didn't, then they did. RMC, please just break down for us how the draft specifically impacted the absolute roller coaster of emotions that we just had to go through.
Niles tank OP, Genie. I mean,
that's it.
Niles is known as a carry player, but his Mel fight this game was, I think, a pivotal point. The early kills going his way had me worried, but he made such good use of it there towards the end. The Unstoppable Forces were on point as well, and we saw that 100 Thieves X really struggled to try and cut through him, and it bought so much space for Azog and APA to just free fire in these fights.
Yeah, mouth.
Sorry. Yeah, Sniper had a great game. You know, he had like 400 or 500 CS, and you know what's better than 500 CS? I guess it's Frozen Heart. It's just you know, Malphite diff. It was insane. Niles put out his mind.
It was absolutely incredible to see just how aggressive Niles was also playing on that Malphite specifically. Yes, he was playing a tank, but he's more than comfortable pushing those limits, more than comfortable going into the teams. And we've seen 100 Thieves, 100x multiple times, really trying to shut down the game, trying to get a lead. They've succeeded at it a couple of times, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Sneezes, what really went wrong for 100x in terms of getting everything on the same page and closing out the game?
You know, early in the game, there were a few mistakes in lane. I think Kalista pushed a little too hard to try to get those solo bolos, those highlight plays, and it turned around on him a little bit. And then I was concerned watching that all of the gold was going on Malphite. All the gold was going on Malphite and Renata early. But you know, those two champions pretty much carried them, and they had really great zone control. They timed their ults really well, and just really hard to win team fights when you have that much layered CC and zone control.
Yeah, and absolutely love the goal difference over time. It's literally it's literally mirroring the emotions that we went through. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Sorry, it's absolutely crazy. We had 3 Barons. We had countless amounts of Drakes being secured, but Sneezes, talk us through the replay clip where we're seeing this fight happening around Baron. Maryville, they want to take it. We have the Tryndamere pushing in the top lane. Nile backs, is gonna stop the push. Yes, they lose the inhib and a tower, but that's all they lose because Maryville secure the Baron.
Yeah, I saw this as like really disciplined for Maryville. You know, this is a squad that's been together a long time. They've been playing a collegiate all year. This is the benefit of having a roster around for a long time and having a really, you know, well-defined coaching staff. They're playing this really, you know, cleanly. Niles knows that he can TP if he can just clear this wave, and Sniper backs off and can't push. He's on a mountain of gold and he can just zone him off, and then, oh, okay, I can come fight now. Now we get our fight on our terms and we flip the Baron, and you know, easy. You know, it's really nice, really well done macro from Maryville.
Yeah, absolute beautiful play, and that communication as well, trusting your teammate to be able to stop the push that's going on, having that trust in them that they're gonna win the fight, that they're gonna be coming back in time, they're gonna have that teleport available, they're gonna be able to stop the fight, just shows how well this team is gelled together and how much experience they have as a unit, and it's absolutely incredible to see. RMC, you yourself even mentioned, like, the macro of this game is on a whole different level. You know, we're watching the game and we're analyzing every small thing that's happening. But for you, when you're looking specifically at the 100x roster here, what player do you think we should still be watching out for into the next game?
Well, for the 100 Thieves next roster here, I think the players played well, and rather than looking at the player to step up, I think it's more to do with their macro play, like you mentioned, Genie, right? Okay. And to a certain extent, I guess then I'm looking at Mist, right? Because he's the coach and he's actually in game this time, right? So he can actually shot call. And I think the fact that Maryville played their macros so cleanly, huge props to the player, huge props to Jensen for being able to teach the players to do that, you know, in game when he's not there. And for 100 Thieves next, then it comes down to, you know, Mist being able to maybe get those rotations a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, prioritizing the right targets where he needs to set up, because honestly, Mist's gameplay was fine. His Nautilus hooks were cleaner than I expected. And honestly, really good engages, but if you're not there first, if you're not set up right, and you're not able to put that pressure down on a split pusher like Trin that you need to, well, then the team fighting comp just kind of takes over, and the discipline that Sneezes mentioned, I think, just had a bigger impact this game.
Yeah, and Sneezes, do you think that besides that discipline, besides the communication coming through from Maryville, there is a specific player individually that we really need to be looking out for, whether it's in terms of their macro, whether it's in terms of the decision making, or just how much value they're bringing to the team?
You know, I think Niles was obviously the standout player, but I want to give a shout out to Azog. He played his fights really well. He kited really well on a short range champion. I know Zaya has a lot of disengage in her kit, but really good positioning, really good, doing the DPS to carry this big utility focused comp. So I think this could go their way if Azog keeps playing that way. So.
Yeah, and I'd say as well, like, considering that we came into this thinking, oh, APA's got to be the big hero to challenge the final boss here. That's not the story anymure, right? Maryville, they've got multiple potential carry positions here. Even Niles on attack can be a carry if he plays like this as well. So, if anything, Maryville are stepping up huge here, and it's not looking as big a stretch right now to maybe pull off a second miracle for the second time.
Yeah, Maryville is absolutely smashing it. And if I remember correctly, Sneezes, you did predict that there was going to be at least one win from Maryville in this series?
Yeah, I did predict 2-1 100x, but I'd be more than happy to have a little egg on my face. It's I think they're playing great League of Legends, and I really like that they're sticking to their style and playing the champions that they're comfortable on. And the meta is one thing, but you got to play the rifts. So we'll see if they pull it out. I'm happy to be wrong.
Well, you also get to choose a word for the tweet that's gonna be going out specifically. So go ahead, as the graphic is gonna be showing up the screen. Feel free to choose any word that's gonna be coming through. Take your pick.
Refreshing. I think Malphite that game was like a cold glass of water. That frozen heart. I thought it was really refreshing to see team pivot towards their style.
Rock solid glass of water, Sneezes. I'm worried about what you drink. But
Iceberg.
True, glacial skin.
Just some ice, that's all we need. But Pyrrha and Beatdown, I hope you guys had your glass of water, because we're going to be heading into the second game of this series, 100x versus Maryville University. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Nara. This is, we definitely stay hydrated over on this side of things, and I think it was hard not to, because that game was so hot, I was getting dehydrated, Beatdown. Like, what an incredible performance, and what an incredible finish. And now Maryville, they're up 1-0, but I think this is going to, if anything, make 100x just even thirstier for the win.
Could be. I think we'll see a 3-game series on our hands, personally, but I think this is a great opening from Maryville University to be able to, again, like they highlighted on the desk. The biggest thing for me is that the Malphite on Niles. I think both teams played really well, but I think Niles especially played his role really well, found some insane angles, even like turned around some plays with that unstoppable force. And I think he deserves a lot of praise for how he played in that first game, getting them the lead against 100 Next, which is already surprising some people.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think we were really hyping up his opponent on the 100 Next side, like looking at Sniper as being like such an incredible prodigy young performer, and he did exactly what he needed to do, but Niles found a way to have way more impact across the map. And I think that speaks to not only the experience, but the ingenuity that the player represents. So looking ahead into this next round, as we are going to get into picks and bans again, it does feel like, well, Maryville had a pretty telegraphed strategy. They were able to execute almost beyond that. Like, they still had a lot of great plays around the map. I wonder if that caught 100 Next off guard, and if that'll make them change up their strategy.
I think the Malphite's something they'll definitely be considering if they want to go for something like a Tryndamere in the top lane, because once all that armor is stacked, it was impossible for Sniper to actually be there. He was losing health. He was losing these health trades significantly because of all armor stacked up. And once you build the anathemas too, it's impossible for Darkwings to do any reasonable damage unless he's hard CC'd like we saw in the bottom river. Now they're going into the next game. Imagine we'll see that taken away unless they end up getting the Gwen this time around. We'll see maybe Maryville ban it again.
Yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense, especially when you're considering somebody quite as aggressive as Sniper to face off against. We are going to be getting into draft in just a couple of seconds, so I can't wait to see if anything does change this time around. 100 Next will be moving over to the red side, and Maryville will be on the blue. So we do get at least that mixed up here, and into the picks and bans we go.
Yeah, and then this already kind of means that we're more than likely not going to see the Malphite come through, just because 100 Next are likely going to save that counter pick for Sniper in the top lane, or if they manage to acquire the Gwen, they can just happily blind that, and still means that Niles won't necessarily have the Malphite angle. So either way, we're probably going to see some different things come out this game from both of these teams, and I'm excited to see how 100 Next are going to try to adapt.
Yeah, so the Wukong's banned away this time by Maryville. Gangplank continues to be showing up in that pool as well. So there is a little bit of top lane focus. I do think that makes a lot of sense. But let's see if it continues to be the jungle bans on the Maryville side, trying to put Fnatic on the back foot. Yep, Talia, there we go.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense there. So Maryville just banning away a lot of power picks. And that kind of makes me wonder if they're looking to take something like the Gwen or some kind of or Viego or something like that. Banning both Talia and the Wukong, when usually that's like the handshake, means you aren't interested in taking either one of those right now. So now 100 Next have a couple of options as well. Could look to ban away something like the Victor is really good for APA, because I think one, his Victor is nuts. Two, I think the champ's really good and scales really well. So at this point, you're just looking to take away whatever other. I think they'll probably just take a jungler.
Yeah, I think it's always a little tough to ban against a player like APA who has such a weird and wide champion pool. But Victor being
just ban the broken
powerful,
ones.
Exactly, just ban the really broken ones and try to deal with the pocket picks if you need. There's the Gwen that we were expecting. It makes its way onto the ban column once again. And the question for 100 Next is: do they continue to throw bans mid lane? Do they try something a bit different this time?
There's a lot of options that they could go for. Obviously, a lot of strong champions left. So it's hard to say what they'll go for. Maybe, the Karma ends up being the route that they end up going for. So it does mean that you do not have something that Maryville can't grab for themselves to get themselves an almost guaranteed pushing bot lane.
Yeah.
It just means that there's still plenty of other things open for the taking here.
Psycho played a lot of that champion last week and really showed up huge on it. But with the first pickup, we get the Lee Sin lock-in for Odd Orange. Old school champ in the jungle for an experienced player.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Odd Orange special. I was thinking that would be a jungle ban they could go for, but I don't think it's actually that strong right now. Like, if you're good on it, like Odd Orange is, it's playable. But of course, you're going to see the response being that Viego, that Fnatic's usually really strong on.
Yeah, so it does kind of feel like, well, you're definitely looking to try and set up for some early game plays and get your team ahead. For 100 Next, like that Viego just has so much upside as far as a carry option goes. And I do feel like Maryville, I'm really curious to see what they pair with this. And my goodness, if we get the Jinx lock-in, I mean, we're looking at a bit of a spring redux maybe with the hyper carries coming back.
I mean, the hyper carries are still good. That's the thing. They're just not as strong in lane since the nerfs they've got recently. Yeah, not as oppressive, but you get them to the late game Pyra, they're just as good as they were before. I can tell you that. So that's what 100 Next are playing for with this bottom lane. Already you see the Renata. Hopes that you can have more influence on this lane matchup and set it up so that you won't let Len succeed the way he wants to. Okay.
Ooh, the Zeri Renata bot lane coming through. Okay. I love this. I love this. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want to see what 100 Next end up adding in for support, because I feel like you have to pick it on this rotation.
More than likely, unless there's you don't want to be blinding either of your solo laners. So it will likely be the support. I like the Lulu if that one gets locked in. So you just end up going Enchanter for Enchanter. And I mean, Lulu's shielding and everything in the later stage of the game, so very consistent, and it's so good for setting up Lens. That's kind of what that pick ends up telling me. You may not get push in the early game. Actually, probably will, because Zeri is really weak early. But it's most important that later on into the game, the shielding, the wild growth, and of course the Whimsy are all big tools that are going to help Lens succeed.
Yeah, the sustain's really going to help out, and in the laning 2v2 as well. Like, you can get shoved, and you can do it a lot safer than trying to go for those hard engaged champions like the Nautilus, because that can get punished by a Renata Glass. And even pre-6, it's something that you have to be a little careful for. So we are into the next phase. We see the Galio banned out against APA, so they continue to try and focus a little bit of attention there. For the 100 Next side, like it does kind of look like they're maybe taking a page out of the Taco Gaming book here, Beatdown.
Just a little bit so far. I mean, the thing too is that you just want to get rid of certain like really strong oppressive picks there. I think the Fiora for Sniper is definitely one of them. APA actually very willing to play the Galio too. That's why you're seeing a ban thrown out in that regard. And I think the thing I'm most interested in, 100 Next are probably going to do what Maryville did in game 1 is blind mid on 4. Just go for something consistent, good, safe, Ori, Ari. There's a whole bunch of options you can go in that route, and just give Sniper the top counter.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense here, especially for the shift over for 100 next onto the red side of the Rift. Try to give him a better 1v1. Use that as basically a pressure point that you can just keep hitting over and over again, and Maryville have to react to. The Nico respect ban coming through for APA, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the Riven respect ban against Sniper. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. A lot of bans thrown towards Sniper in the top lane. I mean, we hyped this kid up for a reason. Definitely makes a lot of sense there. And now the $1,000,000 question. What mid are 100 next going to pick?
Ooh,
so Darkwings can have
options.
He has a lot of options.
Does. Man, I wanted to just flash the ASOL just to troll APA, but I don't think it's happening. Ari does make a lot of sense. You get a nice setup to try and dish a lot of damage. It's a pretty nasty team fight if you can land on a charm between the Viego and the Jinx. You just dish so much DPS. You have a little bit of safety there. Not only self peel for the Ari if you need it, you also have kind of a get out of jail free card with that wild growth.
The thing, too, that's especially nice is that early on in most matchups, Ari's going to get the push. Ari's going to get roam opportunities. I can easily see Darkwings getting this lead in the mid lane and trying to use that on towards the bottom side. So, but APA.
Cassiopeia, let's go.
With the Cassiopeia, that's actually kind of annoying if you're an Ari player.
Yeah, I was about to say, I got 2 words for you, B-Town. Miasma. I'm fully aware that it's one, I know. Yasuo Hover, please. Please, Niles.
Oh, come on. Who's...
No,
there you go. The Kali makes more sense.
Yeah, the Kali makes more sense. Okay.
The Kali makes more sense. It's a good blind considering, like, you took away the Riven, you took away the Fiora. Aurelia is fine too. Camille is fine too. There's a lot of top laners they could have gone for there. I particularly like Camille because you have someone who can dive in with the odd orange, and we saw it in the previous series with Faisal. You want to be able to bypass the front line there and just get on top of people like Fnatic. Or not even Fnatic. People like Lens, people like Mist. And you can just blow up someone like a Lulu if you get 2 seconds in a Hextech ultimatum.
Yeah, you're going to have to be really careful trying to get that wild growth on before somebody does get the deletion. But that is a Vladimir lock-in to finish things off here for a Sniper. I
like that one. It's usually a really common answer into the Gwen. But like you are likely going to get pushed in a bit early on, but like it's such a safe lane and you scale so well as Vlad. So people like APA, people like Azog, it's going to be really difficult later into the game to actually kill someone like the Vlad if he goes even, because you have so much sustain. You have so much kill threat on squishy members too. It's insane.
Yeah, that's the thing that Maryville have to watch for, right? Because they aren't an incredibly tanky team. Like the Lee Sin is probably going to have some of the most sustain in the game. Renata is basically made of paper, especially in the early game. Zeri's not going to have the highest sustain for a little while. And in the 1v1, Sniper definitely has kill threat on Niles here because, sure, the Hextech ultimatum comes in. Vlad's going to pool. He doesn't care about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you have a lot of safety again with the pool that we all know playing against Vlad and things like that. So that ends up being a pretty nice response for 100 next. Overall, you look at Maryville's comp, you're looking at Azog, APA, who are gonna be the big like carries later on into the game. But I think like really, I'm looking at Niles because one, he had a great game 1 playing the Malphite, a lot of huge plays, a lot of big turning points, and he's gonna need to be able to get on someone like Lens. You got to remove this Jinx from the equation because there's a lot of protection for Lens to be able to get off the DPS.
Absolutely. All right, we are loading up into this game, but it's going to take about a minute or 2, and we are going to go to a quick break before we load up onto the Rift from Maryville versus 100 Thieves next.
Okay, nice.
All right, we are on to the Rift. Thank you for bearing with us for just a minute here. Maryville University, 1 game up in the series to determine who moves into the playoff bracket directly against 100 Thieves next in a very exciting fashion beatdown. One that I guess we can hardly call original because it happened earlier today.
Maybe not original, Pyra. Exciting as hell. Because we take those. That was hype. And now
that was great.
We're going to game 2. Maryville. Gonna honestly just get that 2-0 victory. The big waves in amateur, considering the overwhelming support and expectation for 100 next to be the winners of this series.
Absolutely massive right now. I think that win sent shockwaves through the amateur, collegiate, affiliate scene, if you will. You know, like 100 Thieves Next, they had not lost a game from open qualifiers. And guess what? The last time they'd gotten beaten by someone, it was Maryville.
Yep.
History repeats itself. It's very cyclical.
It's starting to seem like kryptonite, but we'll see. Not gonna get too ahead of ourselves just yet. Level 1 isn't gonna find.
Okay, they're waiting around. Oh, lenses. No, it was going to be missed instead. Oh, gotta review that footage later, coach, because that is why you gotta be careful with face checking. First blood to the Zeri. Exactly what Maryville wanted.
Yeah, that's actually, honestly, a pretty big play there. Usually you see the support show up top for this kind of thing at level 1, but it ends up being the opposite, where now starts the hook shot. Perfectly okay, sacking early prio in the top lane. And he's just going to go ahead and use the TP to get back after recalling here.
That was Giga Brain. Honestly, I love that. Like, gets ready, sets up the play, gives the kill to the AD, uses the teleport early up top. You know you're not going to worry about matching it because the Vlad's going Ghost Ignite.
Right. So realistically, there was nothing Sniper could have done, even with TP. It ends up being a really valuable play. Azog hasn't been able to spend the gold yet, but it will be pretty big, especially if he recalls early.
Right. Lens and Mist are going to have to play a little bit back right now. One of the risks of a Jinx, when you do start to get set behind early, right, you have to wonder, you have to make that kind of value judgment of, like, how much mana do I want to spend on, like, rocket farming?
Yeah.
And the answer is a decent bit right now, but there is always that option. Just got to be careful not to step too far forward. You can see Zyko already punishing. The handshake coming through. Oh, Mist takes a lot of damage.
And Lens has to expend a lot of mana, like you said, to be able to use the rockets for that extra range, that bit of safety, because Maryville, Azog, Zyko so very nicely, are ever so slowly pushing that wave into their turret, making sure they can deny whatever they can. And you can see both junglers are actually pathing towards this bottom lane. So we could very well see some action at this bottom Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, I think this is what you want out of Lee Sin, right? To be able to try and match a little bit of pressure and maybe dish more, as APA does take quite a big combo off the Charm over Deception. Lasts the mana pretty much for Dark Wings. Auto Orange will be able to get to the Scuttle Crab first and foremost. But his team is a bit pushed up, so a gank opportunity is a little tough right now. Yeah. Meanwhile, Fnatic moving up top.
Yeah, and the reason it's because they're pushed up that Fnatic's just going to go for the top crab. Even more so, he can actually move top right now. He potentially wants to. Beyond that, he can just go ahead for his Krugs and reset. Because other camps are going to be coming back up. But so far, nothing since the first blood that Maryville have shown us. Again, I'm looking for when Azog goes for his first recall, it's able to spend that gold and get the stat lead that extra 400 gold gets you.
Man, this is such an oppressive push right now, trying to deny a bunch of farm here away from Lens. I mean, you can see the difference, 31 to 18 CS already. Lens is forced to spend a lot of mana on those rockets. It's such a frustrating position to be in as a Jinx, right? Although it's not as heavily punished, but you gotta be careful. There's the handshake again. Even Mist is forced to expend a bit to try and keep his bot lane alive.
Whoa, okay, Azog, we're getting a little hypey.
Okay.
But ultimately, you wanna trade health so that you can get this wave in. Potentially go for the reset here. You don't know where Fnatic is at the moment here. You see pings where they're expecting that maybe he's on the top side because no one's actually seen his farm yet. You don't know that he skipped Krugs in his first clear. So ultimately, it's just going to end up being Niles getting to stack this wave and the potential dive threat onto Sniper. He's not quite level 6. This wave is
they need to bait the pool out a little bit. I mean, they're going to have to juggle aggro a little bit on this one. So he sees this coming. Not going to use it just yet. There it goes. The hook shot out. Niles does take a tower shot.
No way.
Oh, Sniper.
Okay.
He actually trades 1 for 1.
That is as much as you could ever hope for in that situation, Pyra. Not only do you trade 1 for 1, you get 2 flashes out of members of Maryville. Niles and EPA both expend that summoner just to be able to show up. So it's honestly not so bad. And it gives Fnatic that opportunity to go for an invade here. Go for the Raptors, which are up and available, and continue getting a bit of that farm lead that he's got. And it also, that roam also allows Dark Wings to be able to just very happily and safely farm up this mid wave too.
Yeah, so while the bottom lane is starting to become a little bit of a problem there on the 100 next side, I mean, it's just in the farm differential. Everywhere else on the map, certainly looking pretty good for the 100 next side. I saw him taking a little bit of damage from the rocket poke, but Lens and Mist aren't 100% healthy. Full vision of the roam here coming out, so they're not too worried. And they even stop Niles on a back with a well-placed zap. Fnatic, meanwhile, coming into the mid, not going to find APA in time before he splitters to safety.
That's a pretty big deal. Niles losing a lot of time, canceling the recall yet again. Very well lose that next wave. Really playing for the team with the way he's been pathing, moving around the map here. But the division from 100 Next has been pretty good. They spot him out at several different turns, like that Raptor ward. Already saw him. They know he's just going to top lane the old-fashioned way, Pyra, with his own 2 scissor legs.
Yep. Gotta walk it up, walk it out, hang on to that TP. It could be pretty useful pretty soon here. But Sniper has amassed a pretty hefty CS lead over his opposition as well.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of mismatched numbers in this one. It's been a bit of a wonky start to the game.
And it's the handshake that Maryville decided on. The fact that you're letting Sniper, even though they made the one attempt, the fact that he got a kill means he gets to basically farm for free and has a pretty free laning phase, which, I mean, as Vlad, you love to see that, Pyra. And with that in mind, you exchange that for getting a lead onto Azog. And with how Niles' whole job is just to get on someone like Lens or Mist and blow them up, I think that ends up in their mind being a pretty fair trade, because Niles can just play engage, play for the one pick, and trade his life. Because if he trades his life for either Lens, Mist, maybe even Fnatic, that's worth it.
I think they're feeling pretty happy about how the things are going to kick things off here. You know, game lead, they have that 1 kill up, and that pretty much makes up the gold difference at the moment, all other things being equal, because there's leads in different lanes and pretty much dead even in the mid. That's where it's quietest between this Cassiopeia and Ahri. Darkwings hasn't really had an opportunity. You talked about how it's very frustrating to deal with what Cassiopeia can do to counter your own engages. So Darkwings' strategy this game may need to shift a little bit.
Yeah, potentially. Now, the tier is there, Lost Chapter is there. APA has the wave clear to constantly get things pushed in. Even now, with the timer Azog has earned, they're also helping get the push. They're shifting mid, so they can set up for the Rift Herald. That's already being started by Odd Orange. It means that, so far, even though the first dragon is still up, the thing that really matters for Maryville is Herald. You can use that, break open a turret, get some extra gold, really start to snowball here. And with all the attention they've put bot side, you gotta imagine that's where Herald's gonna be.
Yep. Fnatic, I think he has to know this is happening, but can't really react to it. Does actually get jumped in on by Niles here as the Hextech ultimatum comes down. Sniper burns zone ultimate as well, and they will take Fnatic out of this one. APA, meanwhile, back up on Sniper and down to the bot side. We have another engage as well. Lens is taken out of the picture, and Mist is going to be locked up behind this corridor, and he knows his time is running out. It's just a matter of who gets the kill, and Azog picks it up. All of a sudden, the map blows wide open, Beatdown.
And this is huge. That's now 3-0 for the AD carry of Maryville. Azog on the Zeri, a champion. He plays quite a bit since release and is shown to be very proficient on. That's exactly where you want this gold to be going. And again, it's all off the back of Niles sacrificing so much of his early lane pressure, so much of his agency to assist the AD carry. And even now, this is what I was talking about. You trade your life for people like Fnatic, you're happy about that one as Niles.
Yeah, setting up APA to just do so much. A fantastic petrifying gaze and just layering on Twin Fang after Twin Fang after Twin Fang. Here is the play after the fact. Lens and Mist, I don't think they have eyes on anything right now, and they stick around. Let's see how the play goes.
Yeah, I mean, the way you're so far behind, there was no way you're going to be able to actually come out on top of this one. They tried, they got kind of close, but it didn't end up mattering. And that's because, like you said, not a lot of vision available. But as Lens, you need some gold to get yourself back in the game. So you're thinking, maybe I can get that second plate. If I can walk away, that would be huge. But even though they get one plate and is caught up in CS, you can see it on the charts to your left, everybody. Azog, way ahead of everyone else, especially Lens. Using on a nice 1,000 gold lead on 100 next AD carry.
Yeah, even if they were even, I still feel like I prefer the Zeri Lightning Crash over the Jinx Rocket in terms of just straight up 2v2 combat potential. So right now, Maryville have a lot of things going for themselves at this 10-minute mark. The gold lead isn't actually massive because 100 Next have been able to answer a lot, at least in the top side. The differential's pretty huge there. It is going to be Maryville, though, with a tempo lead across the map, and critically a lot of the gold in the pocket of their bot laner, opening up on this first Dragon, in addition to the Herald that they already have in their pocket. I believe that is sitting on Odd Orange as to be expected.
Yeah, a good amount of the early neutral objectives all going to Maryville University, and that's a big deal. I mean, even though, again, you do have Sniper picking up a lot of gold on the top side, I mean, truthfully, this game has basically become a Sniper versus Azog show. Because Azog's 3-0, Sniper's 2-1, and very fed. That's what you're looking for.
Oh, Zyko going in. That's going to be the wild growth onto the Jinx, though. You can see so much damage being pushed out on the opposite side. They just don't have the answer to follow through. Here comes Orange looking for the dive, and he just looks to set this one up. Azog even getting away with murder here. It's going to be tower plates for days.
That shutdown could have been a difference maker there, but we have a play happening topside.
Yeah, Fnatic chased away. One of the most terrifying things is a snake teleporting into your face, apparently.
But it's tough, because that was a calculated risk, and it's looking like it doesn't pay off, because with all that pressure, you guarantee Shelly gets the second charge on this tier 2 turret. No one's going to do anything with it. And unfortunately, Orange ends up blocking the rocket for Azog. Lens is really hoping for that one. But so far, Maryville been playing really well in this game, too. They're looking to shut the door on this series and walk their way right up to the playoffs.
If Game 1 was a heart stopper, Game 2 right now is a much more controlled affair from Maryville. They're taking those measured engages, and even though 100Next have a lot of power going for themselves, you can just see the setup is so much better. Niles has to be careful there. The adaptive defense is not doing enough against Darkwing's 2-level differential as well, but he is able to chase him off the tower and deny him that next plate.
Might be able to get it, but ultimately, like again, goal differences being so small is because of everything Niles has sacrificed to be able to get that lead. But the only question really ends up being, what can Sniper do with this lead? You're playing the Vlad, you already have the rocket belt. I got a good amount of ability haste. You're building towards another item. You're going to be able to just get on top of people like Azog, blow them up instantly. Especially with all the turret plating gold Sniper's been able to get. He actually might be able to one-shot someone like Azog.
Yeah, he's going to be the ace in the hole, I think, for this game. APA goes very far forward, does manage to land an ultimate onto Mist. I don't think that's the prio target you think it is there, and now the turnaround is there for Lens, but Niles has come around again. So, once more, Fnatic moving forward, looking for Niles. Here comes the rocket, splits the uprights. They don't find the damage. A lot of Mist abilities means that the map resets. Everybody getting a little hyphy here, Beatdown.
Map resetting, no depth going either way is good for Sniper. Still pressuring, still throwing in these waves. And, like, the biggest thing I'm interested in is, like, the experience, because Sniper's got to have such a big experience lead. It's more than one full level, as Niles only just now ticked over to level 8. That could be a difference maker later on in the game.
Yeah, it's such a disparity here, but as you mentioned, Niles has just been so self-sacrificial this game to try and get the rest of the team ahead, and it's worked out well. Both these teams have very different win conditions. For Maryville, it's down on the bot side. For 100Next, it's up top.
Yeah, you can see it. Now they've rotated Azog to the top lane. No plates available anymore as they've just fallen, but in what is it, essentially a 3v1 or 3v3. Sniper is still forced off the turret.
Niles does get that very long-range hook shot to reset things. Azog is going to be able to at least get some chip damage on this turret. I think Sniper has quite a lot of threat, but neither team really wants to fully commit, pull the trigger. Meanwhile, Len's just kind of getting a free push down bot, while APA is getting nearly free in the mid. Darkwing's looking tasty, though. Hextech ultimatum on top of him, so there is nowhere to go. They will move in, grounding. There's the flash away, and he finally falls. And they can work for that one.
Spirit Rush literally just ticked on off cooldown the second Darkwings had fallen. Because of that, if Darkwings got to walk away, that actually would have been fine for 100 Thieves, because you're getting free time to farm as Lens, which you desperately want after how this early game has been going. But trading onto Darkwings, getting more gold onto someone like APA, Orange, also still really good for Maryville University, and they get another. Oh, okay, goodbye, Mist.
What was Mist doing there?
I don't know.
I need to see a replay. I don't know if we'll get one, but I'd like it.
Might. And that ends up being a pretty big deal. It's another kill. You get the Rift Herald again, and that should set you up for the next dragon really well. You could quite easily have APA shove out mid, drop the Herald, and walk your way down to the dragon. It's not even as much about the mid lane turret. It's about getting easy setup. But we're going to see now. Oh,
just
it was the
checked.
petrifying gate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Literally turned to nothing. Where did the body go?
Yep. All right. Well, that was a quick pick. Yeah, if you don't really have that much sustain as a Lulu if you're not able to pump out your abilities, and I unfortunately found that one out the hard way. I do want to also shout out what Niles is doing in this as well. Rather than staying like on the side lanes and then teleporting in to help the team, he's doing the exact opposite, which we'll get into that in a minute because they've caught Mist once again. That is going to be another hostile takeover. APA takes down the Lulu yet again. Niles chasing onto Lens, keeping him isolated from the team, but maybe not for long as they get that chase back. The rocket poke just getting a little too hefty. This is without Sniper here at all, and Zyko does go down. Darkwing's pretty big, but gets kicked back into the team. Pinballed around, finally taken out by Odd Orange as the rocket is intercepted by APA from downtown. Sniper continues to chew through turrets.
And a lot of splitting going through here. Maryville constantly splitting their forces into only 2 lanes. Again, Niles, constantly moving with Azog and Co, making sure that all the gold is going on to either the AD carry, the jungler, or the mid laner. Azog's lead is so vast that you're getting to this 2-item spike that Zeri desperately needs to get to in record time, especially with that turret going down. So it means, again, when it comes to overall on the map, Maryville are winning at pretty much every turn. The only thing to look for if you are 100 next, again, we keep talking about it, is Sniper. He's so far ahead. He hasn't shown up to a lot of these fights in the last couple of minutes. But when he does, what does that look like? He's their way back in.
He is, but critically, without a teleport, it means his movement is a little bit predictable, right? Maryville are using that knowledge to its fullest extent. We do have another Dragon live on the Rift we got to talk about here. It is going to be a Hex Tech, but Maryville want to get the kills before they get the objective. Sniper and Fnatic do split away. That's going to be the Blast Cone taken. In danger of being pinched in here. And they are going to just play it a little safer.
Yeah, they're pretty slow right now. You will get mid push if you're 100 next, but Maryville, they don't care. They're already in the pit, already trying to set up. Actually,
hey, there's Sniper. He already used his ultimate on this one, but they can still chase far forward. Rocket does come in. They don't have a deletion on anybody just yet. There goes the hostile takeover, and here is the turnaround from Maryville. Azog is unstoppable with the lightning crash. Sniper goes in on the pool, tries to be the hero, but he just falls down. And now, like dominoes, the rest of 100 Next are starting to evaporate. Zyko may have gone down as Fnatic is trying to hold the line here, but I don't think he can do it. 1v3 at this point. That play of the Rune King is not quite enough as the Twin Fangs sink in. And the credit is given over to Azog as the Drake, hard earned here. 5 for 1 in favor of Maryville.
A nicely played fight from Maryville University. The fact is, APA is in a tough spot. Hemoplague zones him away, and that's the go button for 100 next. The problem is, big hostile takeover finds almost everybody, and it gives enough time for APA to flash in with that petrifying gaze and completely swing the fight over. Big ults were used, big team fight tools were used for 100 next in a 5v4, and they didn't get a single thing for it. It's looking really bad for what was originally the projected favorite in the series.
Absolutely. I think this is unexpectedly getting closer and closer to a 2-0 in favor of Maryville. Remember, this is a team that's practicing for CeeLo on patch 12.9.
That's true.
How are they doing? Like, talk about multitasking. I mean, man, I wish I had that kind of skills when I was in college.
For that, I certainly didn't. I'll tell you that. But now, Sniper, he's in a lot of trouble.
He is. I mean, okay, that's going to be a 2-man Hemoplague. Maybe he can take down Zyko with him. I don't know if it's going to be worth it there. As he goes forward, he's going to just get denied. An insult to injury. It's Niles that gets the kill on him. And the young Prodigy just doesn't have enough in the tank. They're going to try to finish off something for their trouble. Objective bounty claimed in the mid lane. But there is a full health Shelly here on this inner turret, and nobody is coming to stop it.
No one can do anything about it. Lens, all he's going to be able to do is take some of these objective bounties. As all of Maryville are committing to this other side of the map. And it is much needed gold for this Jinx. On the side of 100 next. But realistically, is that actually going to be enough? The rocket, Super Mega Death Rocket, looking like they want to stop some backs, waste a lot of time. That could. You're seeing the Baron pings come through. This could actually be a late start, but it looks like they won't go.
No, not going to pull the trigger on that one. 100 Thieves next are going to try and back away, lick their wounds a little bit. They managed to hold on to base turrets, but the Shelly charge does come off on that bottom as well. And unfortunately, there's so many Fed members here on the Maryville U side, not the least of which is Azog. 2.5 items on the Zeri. The Cassiopeia is becoming a real problem. 10-stack Dark Seal. I wonder if a Medjais comes in yet again. Not to mention the Lee Sin, not as much of a carry threat, but hey, you know what? If he's going to have a lot of kills, he's going to have a lot of kills. This has worked out so well.
It has. It's just been an exceptional game from Maryville, start to finish. Niles sacrificed, even Niles, who sacrificed so much to get this lead for Azog, has a bounty on his hand at the moment here. It's a small one, but it's a bounty nonetheless. Is what everything Maryville were looking for, and then some. And 100 next, looking like Sniper hasn't been able to really go big in these fights so far. You don't have a lot of openings to make things happen unless you catch someone out like they may have onto Niles, but this is also Camille.
Yeah, I think he's okay, but there's always the potential there. Niles has just done so much for his team here. It's like, it's not an impressive score line. If you were just looking at like the way this game is in this exact state, you could not possibly know how much Niles has done to get his team ahead.
Yeah, it's been quite the performance from Maryville's top laner all series long. First on the Malphite, now on the Turbo Ultra Mega weak side Camille. Here in game 2. Yeah.
Weak side is a skill. And I tell myself that because I lose top lane all the time. But it still counts. Okay. Azog is away. And he is keeping himself relatively safe. That's the other thing about Azeri is you do have a lot of inbuilt mobility for yourself, so you can hopefully hold on to that bounty for as long as possible. But I mean, talk about a real problem for 100 Thieves next right now. Their own carries are struggling to get to that level. They're gonna need Sniper to really just carry more than his fair share of weight for a while if they want to hold on to this. And it's Maryville that are the ones with the game in hand already. You can't afford to lose this game, otherwise you have to play a whole nother best of 3 to try and make it to the playoffs.
I think what I really agree with what you just said was the hold on.
Psycho is forced to flash here. Darkwings, they're going to try to peel them off the Baron. Here comes the rocket. That's the bailout. Psycho is going to die. So that's an opener. I mean, they don't actually have the Cassiopeia with them right now. APA is gone. This is an opening for 100 Thieves next.
Yeah, he can't TP, but he's looking like he is going to TP, actually. I mean, look, Maryville, they're so strong right now, even without Psycho. This is a potential 4v5 angle for Maryville. After this gets taken, you're seeing the teleports come through. Gold is spent. This is what they want.
They're going to go in for the play right now in the turn. What a massive ultimate from APA! And the health bars are getting shredded. Niles sacrifices yet again from the team. Fnatic goes down. And now the Baron will as well. The split focus is on. They take down everyone, including the Lulu, as Mist was hanging around, and a quadra kill comes through for Azog.
And the Baron buff on top of it all. The icing on this cake. And Soul Point as well, going over to Maryville University. This was the best chance 100 Thieves had. No other way to go about it, Pyra, and it just didn't work. You saw the TPs come through. Immediately, Niles throws himself into the pit, and after APA pushes the mid-wave and teleports in, he's the big hero. Gigantic, petrifying gaze, and it just sets up the rest of this team fight. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, they just didn't have enough damage to shred this down. You could even see Fnatic trying to make a desperate play to at least get something back. But in the backline, Azog is unleashed, and you cannot run fast enough away from this carry. The gold has exploded. Everything is going for Maryville, and I think we are on the verge of an upset.
On the verge of a powerful one, too, it looks like. Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Yep. Yeah, Darkwings. There aren't enough Spirit Rushes to get out of that. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Never mind. You had to flash, too. All right, still counts.
Technically, you're right. There were not enough Spirit Rushes.
No, you got an extra one off the back of that. But, it is crazy. We talk about how this was, on paper, favored for 100 Thieves next. It's not a diss at Maryville. They're a very strong team, but it looked on paper like they were going to be the team that didn't have as much power, and we were being proved wrong. Every one of us on the predictions right now. It's going to be Maryville pushing into the base at 25 minutes beatdown.
That's the bottom inhibitor going down. Remember, Maryville are one dragon away from the Soul, and because they have the Baron, maybe we don't even see the Soul come through. This lead is overwhelming. Almost insurmountable. Maybe it really is. For
Sniper.
Maryville University.
Oh, they just don't have the damage. He goes in for round 2. Maybe they can find it to kick away the wild growth. It's not enough damage to take down anyone on either side, but The blast cone and the hook over. Azog again is able to open up with that explosion, but it's not enough damage, just gets sustaining. Shutdown. Dark Wings manages to get APA. This is the best case scenario for 100 Thieves next as they continue to try and get something. Taking 2 already. The chase is on. But they're being stiff-armed here. The charms follow through. Dark Wings is pushed away.
So this is some much-needed gold. Unfortunately, not as many kills go on to Lens, but he was able to start resetting, getting excited, and being able to have more of an impact. You stop the Baron push, but a lot of the damage is done. You pick up some shutdowns, some gold, but your bottom inhibitor, it's still down. Baron buff is still available in some members of Maryville. It means that 100 Thieves, they got to do stuff like that, like 5 or 6 times if they want to come back.
And they can. It's possible. It is not over yet, but it is going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. I do want to shout out to Sniper for really staying alive through just so much. I mean, this is the good old Vladimir sustain even before the changes, and they just need that to happen. They need Dark Wings to nail every single charm, and they need to start piling kills into Lens so that he can have a quarter of an impact that Azog has.
That would be nice. 400 Thieves next. At this point, you look to who might be able to help them get out of this one, and it's so hard to pinpoint. Maryville, they have this insane lead right now, 8,000 gold, and it really shows on a lot of Maryville's members here. Like, if we could even just go take a look at the gold differences, like the gold numbers between individual people, like, you got to imagine it's all blue, except for maybe Niles, who's behind some of the Fed members of 100 Next. But besides that, you just have all Maryville have to do is put 4 people in one lane, like they're doing right here.
And it's going to be on all of 100 Thieves next to react. And even if they keep the game state the way it is for a little while, in a minute and a half, there's Infernal Soul. We haven't even really talked about Drake stacks this game because there's been so much going on in the favor of Maryville, but they've got themselves on the cusp of getting an incredibly important Dragon Soul as far as fighting power is concerned, and they don't even necessarily need it.
No, but the thing is, if you're 100 next, you might try and contest it, and that fight could pretty much be the end game you're looking for here if you're Maryville. Because at this point, with bottom inhib still down, and how strong you are, we're almost at 30 minutes, it's just going to take one good fight, Pyra. The game's over. Yeah. Series is over. That's what Maryville are looking for right now, but they're not rushing. Taking their time. They know how quickly these fights can be flipped if Lens starts getting resets and they use their kits to not actually result in any kills. It's not likely because of the gold they have, but it's possible. So with that caution in mind, they're just keeping top push. They're setting up really well for this dragon now as they all move into this mid lane in the river. You got to imagine that's an easy soul for Maryville.
Oh yeah. Keep the waves cleared, stick it together as a unit. And if you get engaged on, there's always a hostile takeover to rely upon. 17 seconds on the Drake. Going to wrap around to clear vision. Force 100 next to step up into darkness. Can do it at such little risk right now, as they are so far ahead. Scuttle cleared. I don't see this one ward. This is pretty crucial here for 100 next.
Yeah, it could actually be something, but there
it goes.
Surely is. They gotta go for it.
This could be the one that decides the game, but it's already going down, taken away, and they even throw out the hostile takeover for good measure. Dyko is going to fall. They need to go to take the fight. Darkwings opens up hostilities with the first one. Fnatic is moving in onto Niles. They've got him down, but you still have to deal with Azog.
Resets. Wait a minute.
Managing to take him out of this one. It's on Orange and APA to try and stay alive and save the day here, but he is slithering away. The Jinx getting excited. You just need one more hit. Dodges out on that one. Goes golden, but it's just going to be an agonizing second to buy time. Big shutdown, and oh my word, beatdown. Are we seeing the turnaround?
We actually might see the end of the game here. We're 30 seconds on key members, 45 on APA. If 100 Next want to go to game 3, if they want to stay alive, they have to push for the end right now. And you're seeing it. They're rushing. The only one back on the map is Zyko and Odd Orange. That's too much for them. The health bars are too low. They're not gonna. They're losing. Yeah, they're losing parts of their base, and realistically, Niles, he shows up, could TP back. That is a much-needed win for 100 Next. They get so much gold off of that, and they get it on the Jinx.
That is critical. Let's take a look at how it started again. This ward did so much heavy lifting.
That's the ward you highlighted, Pyra, and it was so valuable here that it made it so that they were able to walk in without any real threat of some kind of play from Darkness. And even though they lose the Dragon, they get right on top of Zyko. Darkwings is able to at least get some damage off before falling. But look at Jinx. Look at Lens in this situation. He's resetting. He's chilling. He's getting these kills. Big shutdowns going through here. This is exactly what we were talking about.
So we talked about in that last fight that they needed to have like a few miracle plays. I think it was like 4 or 5 or whatever. What are we up to at this point?
Honestly, 1. Dude, if they win another fight like that, the game's over.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean, we're getting to that point of the game, like, even though it's 30 minutes, you know, only 30 minutes. Only. I mean, we've accelerated the game state so much. It is Infernal Soul secured by Maryville. We have to keep that in mind. 100 Thieves next. They were able to open the base. Kind of feel like a backdoor attempt could happen either way at this point, and I know that they were thinking about it, considering Niles coming up off cooldown and the supers marching into the base. Maryville aren't going to start this Baron just yet. They're going to leave Niles on the side lane. He's kind of his own threat at this point. Not going to be able to 1v1 the Vladimir, but he doesn't have to.
And now Azog, under a little bit of threat as he's trying to clear out these super waves. Now we're looking at the Baron. Vision being cleared out. Niles, of course, on the split to threaten this inhib. He doesn't notice.
To deal with him.
Yeah, this is the thing. With Vision around Baron, they actually want to go ahead and start it. It's basically a 50-50 because neither jungler is actually there.
It's gonna
be
Odd Orange is in position right now, but Fnatic should be able to show up in time. If the steal goes through, you got to be careful. You lost Bigot Baron last time around. That rocket does come through with the spear as well, and you can see Sniper goes in, doesn't find quite the engage he wanted, and Maryville will be able to get away for now.
It's huge. The fact that they get, yeah, that's it. They get Baron on 5 members. They walk away. Hostile Takeover doesn't do much, but it zones them, which is perfect. And yeah, you're going to be able to escort the Super Wave, but there isn't much else you could do on the map this 100 next. You really wanted that Baron, and you can see it reflecting the gold lead that Maryville, that were already in control, have now spiked ahead once more to about 7,000. And the only major objective to play for in these next few minutes is going to end up being the Elder. And just look at Maryville, what they're doing. Because bot wave is constantly pushed, and they don't have to answer top yet. They're having the bulk of their members mid. It is about supporting Azog as it has been all game long, along with APA. And they're just making sure they have control over this top side of the map.
Yeah, this is just such brilliant play from Maryville. Not without a mistake. And 100 Thieves next, you know, credit to them for finding miracles and finding openings. I think the one thing you can fault Maryville for is just not sweeping that one ward outside jungle. And honestly, it's such a small thing. It's such a small thing. It's such an odd placement anyways. Like, this really is just such an incredible series, and it's only game 2. We may very well get another game if 100 Thieves next can find the fight. Odd Orange forced to flash the wall. It's going to be the denial of the engage. Niles does not have TP, but he is leading a charge of minions up top side.
We're still a minute 30 from the Elder, so he can apply that pressure, still has time to recall, and actually just walk his way down if he so wants to, because that's what we're looking for. A minute 30 now. Someone has to clear this top wave, and then 100 next have to start moving their way to try and push mid. They have supers, which bodes very well for them, but you still are lower in combat prowess. You need a big fight, like we saw during the Dragon Soul. Somebody like Zyko needs to get isolated, taken down.
Critically, though, one of the biggest differences between previous fights and this one is that Lens is now able to tangle with a number of the members here on Maryville U. Sitting on 4.5 items here, the QSS as well in his pocket. It's not going to be the underfed Jinx like we saw before.
True. I mean, they're both actually even in terms of itemization, so Lens is caught up, essentially, to Azog, which I think you're right is the biggest thing here.
Yeah.
Jinx
level differential, but that's
we talk about how important getting to late game is for champions like Jinx, as well as the Zeri, of course. But now, 100 Thieves next. They have a chance. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the flash forward. They do manage to clip miss, but he turns away. Do not look at the Cassiopeia. And meanwhile, you've got the big Viego. The rest of Maryville scattering to the winds, and they very clearly...
Oh, they're resetting. Oh, they're resetting.
As Lens is going massive here. The kickback does not matter. And you do see 1, 2, Lens, 3, 4, Zyko. Good night, and that has got to be it.
That is a triple kill for Lens. A big fight for 100 Thieves next. They will not go quietly into this good night. Pyra, we're going to game number 3.
Oh, and what an exciting fashion. We get a backdoor in game number 1. We get a miraculous fight, series of them in 100 Thieves next, showing their tenacity to come back. Not once, not twice, but 3 times here. No chance on those timers, and we have got a heck of a series in this day.
That we do, Pyro. 100 Thieves next, showing us why people favored them in the first place with an insane comeback from what certainly like 12,000 gold. But they clawed their way back in, and they made it happen. It was some crucial team fights, and a lot of it, we talked about it, even from behind, reset comps, especially with Jinx and Viego. They started. It's really hard to get that ball to stop.
Oh, yeah, and I think Maryville were very eager to try and force the play. And rather than letting 100 Thieves necessarily come straight to them, they overforced a little bit on that petrifying gaze. It's a small mistake, but the immediate punish from 100 next is just so incredible to behold. And the fact that they were even allowed to get into that position, the fact that they had to basically scratch and claw their way back. I mean, it's incredible how this series has gone, because both games have been one team 99% winning. Not for the whole game, very close. This is not a team coach situation, but it's just been like, there is like one chance that the other team gets back into this, and both times it's happened. I have no idea how game 3 is going to go, and I am so excited.
I think it's just credit to both of these teams where like you see, I think most of the game, Maryville were very firmly in control, and you got to give credit for how they played things out, but they couldn't quite close. 100 next, like you said, too tenacious, and also really understanding their limits. And it's something that we've just constantly seen from this team in many of its iterations, and it seems to hold true with this current roster as well. Of course, we don't know who's actually going to win. I genuinely am not sure, but game 3, that's got to be a spicy one.
Oh, it absolutely does. And man, what an incredible performance on the individual level from a number of these players. I really appreciate misstepping in has done so much work as well for his team. And of course, we've seen from Maryville, this is a squad that is preparing 2 different events, doing practice on different patches. I mean,
that's right.
I don't know what else to say. Desk, take it away, please.